Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're asking the question, is Lara Croft dead on arrival? Let's go ahead and dig in. So I recently put out a survey to my YouTube community asking them if they are still planning on pulling for Tomb Raider. 19% said yes. The rest said no. They said Elena. They said, but Elena is waifu. And then they said, pulling for who? I heard Elena was coming out. So for the most part, I would say Tomb Raider is absolutely dead on arrival. She is falling flat in comparison to the Elena announcement for the week after, and it's going to take somewhat of a miracle to bring her back from the dead. Now, I do want to go through her kit because she does have a pretty interesting kit. I want to talk about what she's going to need in order to kind of, be competitive and be viable in a world where Elena is coming out next week, whether or not she in some world might be worth it, and future wise, what I'm thinking regarding her. We're also going to talk about her vision card because I think her vision card is very important. But the first thing looking at Lara that you're going to want to understand is she is sub gunner, sub ranger. That means she's going to have access to counsel, which is a plus 42 critical hit rate buff. It also means she's going to have access to reflex from sub ranger. So it's going to be very easy for Lara Croft to hit capped critical hit rate, and this is important because she has hits that deliver AP when she does land a critical hit. She also has 3-hit damage large and lowers hate. She also has raises own AP and raises attack of allies around self. So it's safe to say that Lara Croft is not really going to need an AP generation TMR. Now, is this going to be enough though to make her viable? And that's where I kind of wonder. I do think her limit break, having the range that it has, could be viable in terms of being able to give her survivability, right? So she won't be clumped up with all of the other units that you might have with her. So she'll have hate down, so she'll actually not get clipped by any AoEs that are going on. Could be viable. There is sort of a water missile meta as well, which is possible, and we may see a resurgence of, where we do have, on the JP side, they had Winter Victoria EX, which was really powerful. So you could see like a Winter Victoria EX Lara Croft combination. We have Farm coming out on the global side soon, which is going to be very powerful. We also have access to Miranda EX, which we'll talk about here as we're going forward. The vision card, I think, is important. And I would say, if there's one thing you're going to pull on for the Tomb Raider collab, pull on the vision card, especially if you have Winter Victoria EX, especially if you have Krace maybe EX'd or planning on EXing, because it gives water type units missile attack up and spirit up and luck up, and that combination is really important, especially if you're considering evasion builds, right? If you're considering maybe potentially using Farm as a missile unit in the future, because she does have access to sub ranger. Having that luck up is really good for evasion, but then also having that spirit up is really good for surviving those 100% hit attacks from mages when they do have the opportunity to hit you. So there's an element of survivability that is also offered with this vision card that we don't always see with other evasion vision cards out there. This could also be really good for, say, Tidus. If you're running Tidus in any type of a composition, just having the spirit up and the luck up could be really good for him. He is a pretty evasive unit. If the individual unit that's equipping this is also going to get critical damage up and attack up, again, very useful, very powerful. And then if it's Lara Croft, you're going to get critical hit rate up and evasion up as well. So this is probably one of the best individual vision cards that has come out in the game in a while. And it also does have some universal applications as well, particularly if you have Winter Victoria EX. If you're planning on using Farm in the future, all of this is going to be great. So I do think there may be some capacity for Lara Croft to become a little bit dominant. It's going to be interesting. It's almost like with the dominance of Cloud right now, Lara Croft is almost delayed a little bit in her kind of resurgence, and that might be kind of the direction things are going. It might be that Lara Croft is a unit who is not fully viable until Farm comes out, right? Farm is a ninja unit that'll be available to people in global, sub samurai, sub ranger, right? So going to be very evasion oriented, has access to reflex, has access to evasion boosting abilities, right? So the natural synergy here between Farm and Tomb Raider is going to be very palpable, right? And Farm, to my understanding, when Farm came out in JP, Umbra, from what I've seen when he's used her, has been really happy with his Farm, and he's really enjoyed utilizing her. So I think there may be something potentially where, you know, there is viability for a water-based missile reflex composition in the future. We do also have a couple other water units coming out that are really important to consider. Of course, we've already had Summer Elsorel. Of course, Summer Elsorel is getting that buff with the Ildira Vision card, and the Ildira Vision card, of course, gives dexterity up to the party. So you could see Summer Elsorel and Tomb Raider working as a really good synergy together, right? Because you're going to have a vision card which buffs dexterity for the party and gives area resistance, and potentially you're going to have a vision card that gives spirit up as well and luck up to Elsorel, which is great, right? We also have the vision card with Ravi's coming out in the near future, and Miranda. So this vision card is going to give magic 184. It's going to give magic up and defense up on the individual unit, agility up and missile resistance up for the party, and lightning resistance up 20%. So this is going to offer your water unit some survivability against lightning compositions, particularly cloud. So it's possible that we do see a water composition coming out in the future, which is somewhat resistant to lightning and is a little bit more dominant. We also have the Crace VC coming out, which gives individual unit magic resistance, also gives attack up, gives the individual unit some AP up, also gives Man-Eater up on physical attacks to the party, and single hit resistance up on water units in the party. We also have Miranda EX coming out, who is a just monster, which gets an upgrade giving slash and magic resistance plus 15%, slash resistance, magic resistance, debuff resistance 100, right? You get an upgrade to jamming thrust, which dispels all buffs, dispels haste, becomes a 250% modifier. Like, Miranda EX is a freaking monster, you guys. Like, she is going to be a very relevant unit when Miranda EX does come out. She's already a tanky beast. Pair that with, say, you know, Spirit Up from the Vision card, throwing in Tomb Raider into that composition, you absolutely could have a Miranda EX composition with Tomb Raider. And very similarly, Ildira EX was just announced on the JP side. She will be coming out soon, and she is going to be a monster as well. So there is definitely synergy and capability for Tomb Raider to survive and thrive in the water environment. However, I think what you're going to see with Tomb Raider, she's less of a right now unit and more of a unit that's going to keep kind of bubbling to the surface every time these new water units get their EXs or get their upgrades, where it's going to be like, oh, okay, you know, lightning's a little bit out right now. I could run a water missile composition, or I could run a water composition and slot her in there, right? So it may be that we actually see Tomb Raider being a potentially viable unit in the future. For right now, though, she is no doubt dead on arrival, and even I'm up in the air on whether or not I want to pull for her. There'll have to be some really good pull offers for me to go for her, because I'm going to be honest, I want that Elena. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. If you do want to support me, you can show up to the stream on Wednesday with Justin. I'm going to stream later tonight, as we are going to have Tomb Raider release, so we're going to get all our stats and stuff. So make sure you join me for the live stream for that, and have a great rest of your day.